For some reason, people take for granted, oh gosh, I'm Mayaro, so we don't have to get them quality. Or that's Mayaro, and they will take anything. And it's like, no, not because it's Mayaro and, you feed this country that you shouldn't have standards, or that you shouldn't, put your best foot forward, or invest in the best. So it's more than just subscribing to our website and making money. It's more about imparting knowledge in people who are interested in business and who want to be a part of business.
Looking at your WhatsApp status and seeing pictures of your son and whatnot, it is always so heartwarming to see how much joy you have as a father to this little boy. Just tell me about him. Like, how is it for you?
What can I say? He's the reason that I get up every day and do what I have to do to be able to make money, to be able to survive. He came into my life at a point in time when I was going through some very, what is the word I want to use? Stressful or, life-changing events. So it gave a sense of hope. What happened is that I'm a kidney patient. I am it's like a kidney survival patient. So what happened is that I lost both kidneys when I was about 24, somewhere around there. All right. Went through the whole process, did the kidney transplant, and then the graft failed. So around the time when he was born is when the graft would have failed. And that was a very hard time. So him coming into my life gave me a sense of hope in terms of, being able to deal with this, reason to carry on and fight now. So yeah, I was actually on a Zoom call the other day and I was drinking tea out of this cup. So my friend was like, is everything in your house Keon? Is everything in your house Malik branded? I was like, and it kind of threw me back like, yeah, but I really have a lot of stuff that that's related to him. And that's only because, he means a lot to me. He's my world, he's my life. So yeah.
So fast forward to 2020 and we have COVID, we have lockdown, we can't go anywhere. What do y'all do for fun?
He likes to talk. A lot. But we have gotten him involved in a lot of activities. We have him doing an etiquette class right now. And when I say we, I mean it's like my mom, my dad, myself, his mom, because it's a team. It's not me alone raising him. So I always say we because it's everybody. It's a team. So we have him doing etiquette classes. He has actually has an online workout session like 2 days a week, which is also online. Up until they closed the gyms and stuff like that, he would have been in tennis, doing tennis on weekends and stuff. So we keep him busy, we keep him occupied. He looks at a lot of YouTube, so with obviously with me monitoring what he's looking at, but it's mostly Minecraft stuff. So he plays a lot of Minecraft. He plays Roblox and this kind of thing. So there's a balance too, because he reads a lot also. I do reading with him at night time before he goes to bed. So there's a balance of activities that we've found to keep him busy and not bored during the COVID. So
I'll give you that virtual handshake now, because we tend to have this statistic where it's like absent fathers kind of, and it's just so refreshing to see like such an active role. And aside from that, just the joy that it genuinely seems to bring you just being his father, like that's real admirable.
Yeah. Trust me, he's a whole vibe. He's a whole vibe.
And like y'all do all that with him, and for us, like me and my squad, it's like we go for drives, right? So we will drive around, we will talk, we'll listen to music, we'll think about life during these drives. And in one of these drives, we ended up in Mayaro. And the conversation around that was like, Mayaro has so much potential, but it doesn't seem to have tapped into that potential yet. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree with you 100%, even more so during the COVID now, because what we've found is that because people can't travel and they can't leave the country, and they're looking for that sense of release and that sense of, calm and getaway, that Mayaro has now become one of the go-to places. So you would find on a weekend, even now that the beaches are open, that a lot of people are coming to Mayaro. They want to experience what Mayaro has to offer. Um, we recently had the whole Duckies explosion with the roast fish and all of that, and that whole stretch in Ottawa that we call the roast fish stretch, because there are like about 6 or 7 places people doing roast fish there. That would have also contributed more recently with the dirt oven bread. So there are things that we would have had all the time in Mayaro that people are now discovering because they're spending so much time in Mayaro because of COVID. But the thing is that, and it's my opinion, I could be wrong, but growing up in Mayaro, what you would have found is that a lot of people weren't really doing business and focused on tourism. They would have been more interested in the oil and gas, because it would have been easy at a point in time to go up to Gallio at a point and talk to a contractor, get a day work, or you go to school, you become skilled in a particular trade, and you go into the oil and gas industry, whether it's to work offshore or whether it's to work in Gallio to a point on the plant. So with oil and gas being what it is now, and people getting laid off, the jetty is no longer as active as it used to be. People are finding unique ways to make money, whether it be by food, whether it be by doing unique items that are indigenous to Mayaro. People are finding ways of surviving. But I still don't think that a lot of attention and the right direction is being focused on from a perspective of the people who have the resources to help expand and make Mayaro what it could be. They're not focusing on that. So Mayaro, people do it learning things by trial and error. People doing things based on what they think is right and not necessarily what would help them succeed. So it's my perspective that Mayaro has a lot of potential, like a whole lot of potential, but we need that help that can help us tap into it, and we need that direction and that advice from those that have the resources that can do it.
And definitely, with your idea, a website is something that has a small space but a very large footprint. So tell us a little bit about what was the inspiration, taken from what you just said about what Mayaro needs. Your implementation of that need and that solution to that need led to something. What was the process of realizing, look, there's this need for something, and this is what I'm going to do to satisfy that need?
Well, what I would have found is that, as I said, a lot of people are getting into business now. And what I found is that the advertising methods or how they go about trying to get sales, it needed some work, because people would tend to just post something on Instagram and hope that people see it, or they might post something on Facebook, or they might post something on WhatsApp. Or they might come and say, hey, post this to me now, I'm starting a business and I want to get some help. And that's all well and fine to use your network, but what I would have found is that they weren't investing heavily into marketing. They weren't investing heavily into getting their products out there the way they should. And so I was like, why not have a website that's dedicated to Mayaro businesses, more so the micro, the small, the medium businesses, those that don't have the large pockets. And, build the business model in such a way that you're not charging a whole big, lump sum of money to get the product out there. You charge something that you think a medium or a small business person can afford. So that way now they have this website that's dedicated to their community, where the people within the area can go on and search for products and services, and by extension, people outside of the community, because now you have that influx of local tourism. People coming in can now look and see, okay, there's art soap in Mayaro. You can get, you can get bread, you can get roast fish, you can get sugar cake, tulum, whatever it is. And all these people are on one central location. And I don't have to go and fight up on Facebook now. And when I type in sugar cake, people from Tobago coming up, people from Togo coming up, these people I'm guaranteed that it's in Mayaro and I'm heading to Mayaro this weekend, or I am from Mayaro and I want to go out the road. I need to know where this person is. I can go on this website and get that. The intention also with the website is to eventually have workshops that would, bring experts like Kyra Baker in and have her do, marketing strategies and building your business from a marketing perspective. That's the intention that I have. So it's more than just having a website. It's going to be something where you as a business owner can tap in and, learn so much more about business, learn so much more about marketing and how to get your products to the right standard that it needs to be. Your product photography, the way you display yourself, the way you propose, invitations from people to invest and stuff like that. Because it's important to understand that a lot of the people that are starting these businesses didn't go to business school. They're learning from trial and error. And if they have to dedicate the time to go to the Art of Lockjack or the SPCS now to expand their knowledge, that means they have to leave their business, because a lot of times it's sole traders. So you're telling me I have class on Saturday from 8 to 9 or 8 to 4. So I have to close my business up for a whole day, lose a whole day sales to go to St. Augustine or wherever the case is to, learn something that me, being the owner of Mayaro Junction, is willing to bring into the community. So you don't have to go that far now to get that knowledge.
So the same passion and the same energy that I see for Malik is the same energy that I see in for Mayaro Junction. I want to go back a little bit to try to understand your background, to know, okay, you are a son of the soil. What drove this energy? What drove this need to do something so great for Mayaro? Knowing that this is your town, this is your village, you are from Mayaro. What motivates you to want to push Mayaro further?
Well, I have some friends who like to call me the mayor of Mayaro because I'm always talking about Mayaro. At every opportunity I get, they're like, oh God, I'm so stressed and I need to get away. And it's like, yeah, come down Mayaro. I'm looking for a place that have nice food. Yeah, come down to Mayaro. And that's just, I just have a love for the 630. I guess it's just because Mayaro has helped create who I am as a person. So, the love and the passion is there. I've always been involved in community. I am on the Guayme Energy Alliance Credit Union Education Committee. So I volunteer with them. I've been part of numerous NGOs and groups. I was part of a group called Mayaro Life way back. I have my own NGO, Mayaro Positive, which focuses on the positive and the uplifting things that are coming out of Mayaro, whether it be people, whether it be persons doing good things in business, whatever the case is. So I've always been about the positive push for Mayaro. That has always been my passion. My parents. My mom is from Guayguayari. My dad grew up in Mount Diablo, but he moved to Mayaro and started his family here. So Mayaro is what I know, Mayaro is what I know. At a point in time, I would have been out of the area for about 2 years. That would have been when I was going to School of Accounting and Management. I would have stayed in Trinity for a time. And I must say that there was a culture shock. There was a culture change in terms of the access to things and, how easy it is to get around and stuff like that. So when I moved back to Mayaro after that, it was a bit of a challenge settling back in because, at any point in time, you could go Cane Farm, get a maxi, go in town, wherever the case is, get something to eat, come back home. Movies finish 11 o'clock, that kind of vibes. In Mayaro at 11 o'clock, it's dead. But you learn to accept those things and you adapt. And if you're the kind of person that likes that relaxed, laid back type of life, then Mayaro is definitely the place for you.
So we see definitely again going on the same projection of this positivity, right? Owning a business is not always positive. There are definitely some negatives that come up along the way, right?
Oh yeah.
What were some of the negatives you would find in having such a unique approach to your business, and that you are the only person doing this, not just in Mayaro, but on a wider scale as well. What were some of the negatives that you would have faced, or what were some of the hurdles you would have faced along the way? Is it that somebody would have said, nah, you can't do that? Or is it that the bank could have said, nah, we ain't giving you that money? Or, what were some of the things that made you feel like, gosh, boy, not everybody on the same wavelength as me?
Yeah, there would have been those challenges. What you would find is that you have to believe in your product, believe in yourself first. And I definitely had that belief, that there would be people that would come on board. There have been people who actually was like, nah, that's not really for me, but their issues were more along the lines of not being computer savvy or being tech savvy, So it's my responsibility to not say, well, oh gosh, I'm just not into technology, so let me just not bother with them. But the thing is that it's my responsibility to teach them so that they can understand. So with that hurdle, I developed the mindset that, okay, this is not a quick and fast thing. It's going to be a long-term thing, because you're going to have to convince people now why they need to get online. You have to convince people now why you can actually why you should sell your product online, as opposed to hope that somebody come in your store today and you get a sale. So from that perspective, that would have been one of the negative things that I would have had to overcome. As with all businesses, trying to convince people to invest in the business is always a challenge, because people may not see a vision. But once again, it's your responsibility to convince them that, hey, I sure about this, invest your money, you're going to get it back, it's going to be worth it. So those are things that I would have had to work on to convince people to get involved and, believe in what the product is. But what I've found, because I've hit the streets and I'm meeting with business owners one-on-one, and a lot of them say the same thing. It's like, this is a good idea and this is the right time to start something like this, because everybody's going online now because of COVID and all of that. And, I've even heard some people say, why I didn't think about that, boy, that was a real good idea. I should have been on top of this, So they definitely want to get involved. And so, I mean, yeah, there was a slight bit of negativity, but it's nothing that I have not been able to overcome.
Right. I mean, as you said, 2020, COVID, this is like the ideal time for something like this. Have you found opportunity within COVID?
Honestly, this business has been an idea of mine before COVID. So I guess it was, I mean, I don't really believe in luck. I believe in being prepared when the opportunity comes forward. But the timeline and the way that things worked out, it just so happened that, COVID happened at the same time. Admittedly, my first business, the first business that I have is photography. So I have F1 Photo Studios, which I'm in the process of rebranding into F1 Media House. And that would have come to a dead stop because of COVID. So I decided, what, Keon, now is not the time to sit down and drool and drag and be like, oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I going to pay my bills? Now is the time to get up and do something that can make a difference. So with the idea in mind, even before COVID, to have Mayaro Junction come on board, and with the way that COVID happened, I was like, now should be the right time. So let's execute one time. Let's not delay and wait until 2021 to get this done. Let's do it now. So, I actually invested in Mayaro Junction out of pocket. So that was even a bigger risk that I took, and I found that as time went along and I was developing with the marketing team and all of that, I started to see the vision clearer and clearer. And I was like, yeah, this is now the time to do this. Let's do this. So I guess it's a matter of just the right timing, I mean, COVID is nothing to I don't want to say I benefited from COVID, because it's definitely not something that you want to say you benefit from, because of the amount of deaths and the infections and stuff like that. But what I would say is that the timing and the way things happen and the way COVID has now changed the way we do things around the world, that the Mayaro Junction timing was just on point.
Right. I know there's a lot of sensitivity about, seeing COVID as almost like a profiteering system.
Yeah.
Nobody really want to say that, but there are businesses who have seen opportunity as a result of it. And I don't want to label it as bad. I want to label it as, having the wits about you to recognize, look, there's an opportunity within this. Let me do something now. And of course, as you said, you were prepared at the time to move on an idea and make it happen. So with that being said, I just wanted to find out about what was the actual step 1 to step 100 of coming up with the website. You had to hire a web developer, you had to come up with branding, you had to figure out who is going to purchase this product. I want to get a sense of what was your timeline, what was your process in terms of going from an idea to something that you can now go to a business and say, look, I have this thing.
So I'm the kind of person, it have some people is be like 3 o'clock in the morning, they'll jump out, they better to idea. Yeah, that's me. I'm that guy. So actually how it would have happened is just like that. I wasn't asleep, I was up actually, but it was like around 3 in the morning and the idea came to mind. And I have certain people that I bounce ideas of. One of them is my friend Denise David. So I just started. She's used to me, so I just started WhatsApping what was coming out of my head to her.
At 3 o'clock in the morning, right?
Yeah. Right. And when she got up, she would have read it, and she was like, yeah, that's a good idea. So I called her and we were discussing it. But I didn't have the name Mayaro Junction. What I was going with was Mayaro Business Directory. And then she was like, so how about Mayaro Junction as a name? And I was like, yeah, so every time I give that story, I always give credit to Denisa for coming up with the name Mayaro Junction. That was brilliant on her part, because we always bounce ideas off of each other. She's also a part of Mayaro Positive, and she's been very helpful in guiding me where the NGO thing is concerned and what I should do. So she played a big role in terms of the name Mayaro Junction. So from there, I would have sat and think about how I wanted to get this done, what I wanted to do, who I wanted involved. And then I would have think about, okay, who I want to work with, to make this happen. I need somebody who on my wavelength, who could see my vision, who I could explain this to properly. And the first person that came to mind was Kyra Backer. And so I sent Kyra an email. I was like, there's something I want to work on. I gave her some details of what it is. And, so we set up the meeting, we talked about it. And, from there, the snowball started rolling and developing. And she's like, I have this real good web developer. So we'll be working with that person. So the process was where we would have met and she would have gotten all the ideas that I had, how it is I see the business being laid out, the type of people that I want to meet with, what challenges I would have. And, it was very detailed. That was like a 2-hour Zoom meeting. Yeah. And I was just wondering if she was getting all of this, because when I start to ramble about ideas, I think she probably recorded that Zoom and she went back afterwards and made her notes. But yeah, that took form, and then I was able to create the brand, which is a really exciting process, because in my other businesses I would have just told a graphic artist what I wanted and hope for the best. But this process was so detailed in terms of, okay, what colors are you looking at? Like how would you describe X, or how would you feel about Y, and all of that. And then when I got back the samples that you sent to me, in terms of the options, I was like, wow, I had no idea what the Mayaro Junction logo would look like. But then when I saw it and it came to life, I was like, yeah, this is a real vibe. Even the colors and how the colors were put together and all of that. And, that was a first time for me in business, because previously, as I said, I would have been, and this comes back to what I'm saying about people who are now starting businesses in Mayaro, where they don't have the experience, so they don't have the know-how. So everything that I would have done 15 years ago when I just started F1, I learned from that, and those are all of the things that I want to bring into Mayaro Junction. Also, my experience from what to do, what not to do, how to deal with clients that are not happy, how to deal with X, how to deal with Y. That is what I want to bring to Mayaro Junction. So it's more than just subscribing to our website and making money. You know, it's more about imparting knowledge in people who are interested in business and who want to be a part of business. So yeah, this part of it was the first time for me in terms of how to create and identify a brand. You know, the deep dive that I did, that was an amazing experience for me, because I even learned a lot in terms of what I really want for the brand. Because it's one thing to think that I want this, but then when you start to ask the relevant questions as to why you want that, do you really think that's going to work? You know, and so you don't end up in a situation where you launch a business because you're thinking in your mind, yeah, this is what I want and this is what's gonna work. And then when you're reaching it and you start to get down to the nitty-gritty and the details, you realize, nah, boy, it's not compatible, you know. But at that time you don't spend that $30,000-$40,000 already, and you need to make back your money. So you're scrambling now to put the correct things in place. And I think the experience that I would have had between Kyra and yourself allowed me to not have to go through that after I would have spent the money, and the details were there, and I had an idea of, you know, every step that it would have taken moving forward. You know, but as with business, you know, you always want to expand and things come to mind afterwards. And that's fine, that's no problem. But once it's within the realm of what you've already developed, then that works for you. So from there, the website would have been built. You know, there obviously there are teething periods and there are things where you would have to work out. You know, this technology is man-made, and you know, you always have to have patience. And that's something I need to let people know. You know, when you get into business, it's not going to be perfect on the first day, on the first try. You know, you need to have that patience, and you need to understand that things happen. There's going to be a teething period, and you have to accept that. And with me being who I am, I have the patience and the understanding that, you know, that is going to work. So, you know, we went through that phase, and I think we are at a point now where I've started meeting with people. You know, I've gotten a few customers on board, and the next step is to do it in a big way in terms of targeting a lot more people. You know, creating a robust sales pitch, and you know, getting out there and not leaving without a yes. You know, so that's basically how it would have rolled out. And I'm in it for the long run. As I said, this is just the first phase of what I want to do for Mayaro Junction. It's a lot more than just a website. You know, it's going to be a movement that is going to get Mayaro people, Mayaro businesses, people interested in business at that level to compete on a national and even international scale. Because for some reason, people take for granted, oh gosh, I'm Mayaro, so we don't have to get them quality. Or that's Mayaro, and they will take anything. And it's like, no, you know, not because it's Mayaro, and you know, you feed this country that you shouldn't have standards, or that you shouldn't, you know, put your best foot forward, or you know, invest in the best. You should, you know, because what, you're human too. Yeah. You know, you're from Mayaro, and you know, you're peoples. So why not put the best foot forward?
And these are your peoples.
Yeah. I
mean, for me, from the designer perspective, it truly was an experience getting to the point where I was able to create something for you that was a representation of an idea. And I think that a lot of business owners kind of have this thing in their head, but it's not tangible until they could see it. And for me, that's a lot of that's like 99% of the joy of designing something for me. Is just to give people that moment where it converts from being just this abstract idea into being something that's real. And you've gotten to that point. And you also touched on a lot of things like the different aspects of business, right? Which aspect of business do you think that the younger Keon needed to hear from the older Keon? So if you could give advice to your younger self, which aspect of business do you think is the most crucial to what you're trying to do right now?
Don't take too long to execute what you want to get done. I don't know if it was self-doubt, but a lot of the times I would wait and wait and wait. And it's like, now is the right time, boy. Now is the right time, boy. People will like this, boy. I wonder, and what I've learned, because a lot of these things. All right, so let me give you a quick story. Um, about 10 years ago, I was talking to a business partner of mine at the point in time. And I told him, it would be a good idea if we could stream weddings. Now, this was 10 years ago. If we could stream weddings. And he laughed. And he's like, that's impossible. We can't do that. And I was like, well, all right. And I walk away with my head down, like, well, okay, if you say it can be done, then. And then lo and behold, in 2020, that is the way of life. Everybody is streaming now. Everything is being streamed online. And just the other day, I connected with him and I was like, you remember when I told you that? And you tell me it can happen, watch now. And I was like, I could have shoot myself in the foot because it's like, oh my God, this is an idea that I had 10 years ago. And if I had started developing it then, what would have been my situation now? Granted, he had a valid point where he said the technology was not available to do it the way I wanted to at the point in time. But why sell yourself short and say because the technology not available means you can't do it? Create the technology, work towards the getting it done to a point where it's doable. So don't sell yourself short, younger Keon. Don't sell yourself short. Whatever idea you have, if you believe in it, put forward and just get it done. So
you seem to have this unwavering faith. Tell me a little bit about that. Is it religious? Is it what is it?
I think it's just my life experience. I didn't expand much on my health situation, but I would have dealt with a lot of things with regards to life and death, literally. And I'm here today, So the fact that I would have gone through all those things, experienced what I did, still come out, have a 9-year-old son, I have what I would consider a successful, photography business. I've created a new business, Mayaro Junction. I'm involved in a lot of other things, where and it's not just being involved, it's being involved where your input is appreciated. I'm also a part of a foundation called the Low Strength Foundation for Men, men's empowerment. And I really value what they are doing. And it's a good feeling to know that somebody wants you to be a part of such a big movement. So all those things are driving forces that, if people could see that in you, and they want to be around you and they want your input and they appreciate your value, then why would you not have that faith in yourself? Because people seeing it. So you need to identify it on your own and realize, and it's not being boasty, yeah? It's not being full of yourself. It's understanding who you are to people and what you mean to them, and accepting the fact that there just may be something about you that people gravitate to, that makes you the kind of person that they want to be around and they want to spend time with or get knowledge from and appreciate. And once you accept that, it gives you the energy and the ability to move forward in your own things in life. So I guess it's a bit of my experience in life. Yes, there would be a bit of faith and belief in God and stuff like that. Definitely. But I think most of it would be from, as I said, my life experience, going through what I've gone through with health, and knowing that people appreciate me and what I have to offer.
It's so refreshing hearing that perspective of it, because oftentimes we go on social media now and the posts are always about eliminate the toxic in your life, get rid of the bad in your life. You don't need this, you don't need that. But I've always wondered, what if I am the person that the toxic person needs in order to not be toxic? What about our sense of responsibility to pull someone out of a dark place instead of just always cutting out? Because then if you cut out everyone, then who do we lean on? And that's kind of like what I derive from what you said there in a bit, because to me, you've recognized your responsibility to be a light to other people. And I think that's very, very admirable. And I think that moving forward, that is one of the traits that is going to build your life, build your business, and build a future for your son. And on that note of future, what is your vision of the future? We have visions of the future that we see in movies, in TV, in games or whatever, but what do you think the future is going to look like, and what is your place in it?
That's a real interesting question. And why I say that is because it's actually something that I've thought about in terms of, where would the world be 5 years from now or 10 years from now? Right? As a matter of fact, right now, we waiting on the results from the US election, and like the world has literally stopped waiting to see what's going to happen and who's going to be the leader of the free world for the next 4 years. So I think about that a lot. And to answer your question, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. And when I say worse, I mean from the perspective of mankind and their thinking and their behavior. But we are going to reach a point where people are going to realize, okay, this needs to stop and we need to come back together, as human beings caring for each other and being there for each other, But you know how they say you don't appreciate light until there's darkness? I think that is what we are going through now. We are at that period of time where the darkness is coming over, and then there's going to be that light. I have not lost hope in mankind, and I can't afford to, because I have a son that is going to be the future. And if I am giving up on mankind and I'm giving up hope on who we are as a people, then I'm giving up hope on his future. And I don't want that. I don't want that at all. I don't want that at all. So, and that is why I would do my best to ensure that there is a future for him to enjoy. There is going to be a world where he can live and be happy and not be depressed and sad all the time. So, yes, we may go through continued dark times, but I do believe within my heart that eventually the sun will rise again, and there'll be blue skies and all that beautiful stuff.
Nice, man. I want to thank you. I want to thank you for being you. I want to thank you for being a father to your son. I want to thank you for doing Mayaro Junction the way that you do it. And I want to thank you for coming on to have this conversation with me, because so many of these conversations and shows like this are about people who've achieved things prior, or they've already been through their journey. And I feel like you are at a point where this new journey for you is just starting. And I'm very interested to see where it goes 5-10 years from now. And I just go with that gratitude and that understanding that you are who you are, and never stop being you, boy. Like that energy and that positivity, just keep that going, and have the world in front of you. So thank you.
So actually just yesterday or this morning, I posted on my IG that I'm unapologetically me. Yeah. So it's like they're like, man, I ain't gonna be who I am.
Yeah, man. All right. You see how it go?
Yeah, man. Thanks for the conversation. I really appreciate that you considered me. This was nice.
All right, man. We can do it again.
All right, cool.
Take care.
Easy. Good. The next thing is my son might bust in here just now. I'll be like, school's out.